Bobby Lashley pulled up at AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday to attack Swerve Strickland because of course he did. In fact, the entire main event of Dynamite was exclusively ex-WWE superstars who once held championships in the company. Former Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin faced off with former NXT North American Champion Swerve Strickland, with former United States Champion MVP in Shelton's corner. After a hard-fought win, Swerve was then attacked by former two-time WWE Champion Bobby Lashley. AEW Dynamite's viewership continues to hover in the low 600,000s. Fucking no million. We're dangerously close to a no half a million streak. Tony Khan is in his ex-WWE era. Get it, girl? Where aging former WWE talent are dominating the product. Former WWE Champion Dean Clanbrose is the current AEW World Champion, and he refuses to even show the belt on national television. This storyline is art imitating life because the end game is clearly going to be homegrown AEW talent rising up to defeat the Whitepool Combat Club. But by the time that happens, will anybody still be watching? Will AEW fall into the same trap that WCW and TNA did, where they become overly reliant on ex-WWE talent to the point where they're just seen as WWE duplicates? And has AEW damaged its entire brand too much for homegrown stars to get over again? Subscribe in Swahili. Breaking news at the control station as the Virgin vote has been counted and will award 27 electoral votes to AEW's Tony Khan. The votes span across the Bible Belt of people saving themselves for marriage, but mostly men who have fallen to the bottom of the comments and can't get up. No surprise there, as Tony has now won the Virgin vote for the last 5 years with AEW, as Tony Twitter Fingers looks to become Booker of the Year. That'll be a long shot at best. Tony's path to victory goes through women, young viewers, and casuals. These are areas where AEW struggled in 2024, with its live attendance looking like the dance floor at a black wedding when they played Come On Eileen. AEW had a clear brand in 2019. The top American stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor rode the waves of a historic all-in pay-per-view and created their own company. They were a do-it-yourself brand of professional wrestling in a time where WWE was flopping with bad storylines and matches that were watered down by Vince McMahon's vision of the WWE style, whatever that means. The wrestling world needed AEW in 2019 because it gave us an alternative. It also challenged WWE to be better. In fact, that plan worked too well. In 2021, when fans started coming back, WWE's live event business took off. Roman Reigns' heel turn alongside Paul Heyman in the Bloodline was a legit game changer. And just like the Whitepool Combat Club's gimmick is to change AEW for the better, AEW's success led to WWE changing for the better. After threatening WWE at its peak, Vince McMahon's 2022 retirement leveled the playing field and gave way to the Triple H era, one with better production, more intricate storylines, and AEW free agent Cody Rhodes. Rhodes is the current WWE champion and the top guy in the entire business. His departure single-handedly led to the ongoing implosion of All Elite Wrestling, and he left the territory after being booed out of AEW by their incel fan base, which is super smart and intuitive. Because at the end of the day, AEW is allergic to cool. This Just In Pro Wrestling bit is calling the 18 to 49 demo, and that demo goes to Triple H, who will haul in 55 electoral votes. That puts him well ahead of Tony Khan and on his way to Booker of the Year. Triple H has won Booker of the Year every year since Vince McMahon left WWE, which happened around the same time Tony Khan's beginner's luck left AEW. The AEW implosion is getting so bad, its biggest babyface Will Ospreay's catchphrase is to restore the feeling in AEW. And its biggest heel, Jon Moxley, is challenging AEW originals to be better through tough love and skinhead shit. AEW has tried to recapture its momentum by signing one ex-WWE star after another. Mercedes Moné is a double champion. Pac and Claudio Castagnoli are former WWE guys currently in the top heel stable in AEW. As Daddy asked, the 60-year-old Billy Gunn quickly became the most popular member of the Acclaimed. Even the biggest stars on Collision are MXM. WWE superstars and storylines are creeping their way into AEW. This would be fine if AEW was a WWE territory like NXT, but it's not. In fact, it was created to be anything but. And the only real invasion going on in AEW is the invasion of WWE talents coming into the territory and undercutting its brand. This is a big reason NXT, WWE's third brand, beats AEW most weeks these days. Because if fans want to see WWE talent in another territory, they'll just watch a WWE-produced product. Personally, I'd rather watch future WWE stars on the come-up in NXT than former WWE stars on the decline in AEW. AEW is turning into pro wrestling's pension plan, basically NXT in reverse. That's why NXT has the momentum and has a good chance to beat AEW on their own night when they go head-to-head on Wednesday. Hold the phone, we've got a major announcement. As usual, the election for Booker of the Year comes down to the black vote, and that vote goes to the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. That's a whopping 92 electoral votes. HBK has also won the state of Texas in its 64 votes, along with the male stripper vote, bringing him to 196 and the easiest path to victory. That means for the first time in American history, a third-party candidate will be Booker of the Year as African NXT looks to dominate Dynamite. We already saw the Hurt Business, and it was great. Do we really need the Hurt Syndicate? We already saw the Shield, and it was great. Do we really need the Whitepool Combat Club? We already saw Joker 1, and it was great. You get it. Once upon a time, AEW cannibalized the indies to their own advantage. But now, WWE is working with outside companies better than AEW ever did through the relationship with TNA and WWE ID. And for all those marks who think WWE is here to cannibalize the indies the way AEW killed ROH twice now, just go look at the attendance for Bound for Glory and get back to me. I ain't see buildings that full when Kenny Omega was collecting belts in the Impact Zone. AEW is turning into the place where ex-WWE guys with enough stroke get to work out their material in a smaller comedy club. Except this is happening on national television. So if Jon Moxley wants to form a skinhead group, Jon Moxley gets to form a skinhead group. Bobby Lashley recently shared an idea he had about a storyline he wanted to do with Gunther, one that was nixed by WWE.
I want Gunther to say, people like you don't deserve a chance at my title.
Oh my God.
And people were even like, what do you say? Because we would have toed that line.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the German.
Right.
And then these black dudes and like this, like, is there a little bit of racial tension a little bit there? We didn't have to go there because we would be like, whoa, what do you mean by people like you? He could be like older guys in wrestling or something like that.
Like, oh yeah, that's what.
But the crowd would have been like, did he say that? And then I was gonna say, I think you look familiar, and do one of these like this. And what this is
the mustache.
If I've said it once, I've said it a million-man march. I have no problem with racial and political storylines in pro wrestling, and I think it's high time somebody take advantage of the divisiveness in our country through the lens of pro wrestling. There's so much opportunity for so many different stories there, and it can connect with the mass audience, just not in AEW. Please, not in AEW. AEW does not have nearly enough creativity, and Tony Khan is not enough of a filter to make anything like that work. I'd love to see the Hurt Business run off the skinheads back to that Nazi rally in MSG, but AEW's version of that, with its week-to-week booking, would fall off violently. No thank you. David Bix can't draw a dime as a personality, which is why he has such a sketchy history of hiding on Twitter. If there was a magazine for incel culture, it would be called Sports Illustrated for Bix. The body odor bookworm is a portrait of a permavirgin, and voting Bix as AEW Secretary of Social Media will keep him inside and behind the digital walls of a bird app, where he belongs. Save this sicko from himself. Vote David Bix for AEW Secretary of Social Media, because Bix without Twitter is an edgelord without a purpose, and that doesn't paint a pretty picture. As much as AEW is trying to be WWE, it seems to be doing a shot-for-shot remake of WCW during the Monday Night Wars. AEW airs on the Turner Networks, just like WCW. They started hot, just like WCW. They dominated WWE head-to-head when Dynamite ran NXT off Wednesday nights, just like WCW's 83-week winning streak. Their biggest stars made their name in WWE, just like WCW. In fact, major former WWE stars Hall and Nash threatened a hostile takeover, just like Dean Clanbros and Ku Klux Claudio, who are destroying babyfaces every week like NWO did WCW. The problem with this is, NWO started a trend of cool heels. They were different from the scripted cookie-cutter product that WCW was airing at the time, so fans connected with it. And when WCW had a chance to topple NWO, bad booking resulted in a messy finish between Sting and Hulk Hogan at Starrcade, and ratings tanked, just like AEW's ratings right now. Sadly, the Whitepool Combat Club isn't the NWO, not even close. They're a stable led by Jon Moxley, who people don't really want to boo. The rest of the stable are good hands with career ceilings outside of the main event, so it's hard to take them too seriously. The storyline is also convoluted. NWO's story was very simple. They didn't even have to tell you what was going on. Razor and Diesel had invaded WCW and they were gonna take over, period. In fact, WWE sued WCW for saying so little that it implied Hall and Nash were still under contract with WWE. With the Whitepool Combat Club, their invasion angle comes just a few months after the Elite tried to invade AEW and failed. Not because AEW fought back, but because Tony Khan restructured the org chart and added Christopher Daniels as their babysitter. Then the storyline was just dropped altogether with no resolution. Another invasion angle in AEW just doesn't seem special. And I don't trust AEW to tell a coherent invasion story after a failed takeover just months before. Plus, big storylines like this should be spaced out over the course of years. Regardless, invasion storylines usually damage wrestling companies long term. After catching fire in 1996, the NWO gave way to oversaturation and did permanent damage to WCW's brand. The WWE versus WCW invasion angle, months later, was bogged down by wrestling politics and bitter booking. 2 years later, NWO in WWE was over before it even started because of backstage issues and injury. 9 years later, the Nexus was bigfooted by Super Cena. The core was, well, we don't talk about Bruno. Invasion storylines in pro wrestling are too prone to politics, fans knowing it's a work, and gaps in contingency. Plus, AEW's demo is dominated by the smart message board fan base. Tony Khan has paid too many ex-WWE guys for anybody to really believe that AEW is being threatened by a storyline takeover. In fact, so many former WWE guys have gotten over more than AEW originals, the damage may have already been done. And by the time the Great White Hope Darby Allin wins the strap, it'll be like when Sting's big win over Hogan was fumbled. Just like in WCW. Why is AEW trying to be WWE? Tell me in the comments!